So, folks, because we never trust Iran, that's all the more reason to verify, verify, verify. And that's the subject of the writ. So give at least a couple of cheers for coercive diplomacy, which is to say diplomacy through bombing, as Prussian military strategist von Clausewitz told us really a couple of hundred years ago. War is the continuation of politics or diplomacy by other means. Last week's bombing may well have finally pushed Iran and all their internal factions to at least signing a memo of understanding that represents at least the beginning of the end of the war. President Trump is a master at coercive diplomacy. He's also a master of psychological warfare diplomacy, with his threats to destroy Iran's infrastructure, power and bridges, water, etc., etc. He even kept Karg Island, the apex of Iran's energy industry. He kept that in play as well. Now, the full text of the MOU might come at the end of the week with a formal signing ceremony. Here's what President Trump said today at the G7 meeting in France. Take a listen.
Mr. President, when will the text of the MOU be released?
I think pretty soon. I would say, I want it to be released because it's a very powerful document. It's not like the Obama document, which was just a terrible document. This is a very powerful document, and I want it to be released. So probably pretty soon. I would say sometime after Friday, because the straight, open.
All right, perhaps sometime after Friday. Now, though we await all the details, it seems the president is keeping all his promises to the American people, and for that matter, to the defeated and surrendering Iranians. I mean, they may never acknowledge their surrender, but they are surrendering. Now, Mr. Trump has said no nuclear weapons for Iran, and that's in the deal. He has said that the nuclearized enriched uranium must be transferred out of Iran or destroyed altogether. White House sources maintain that's in the deal. He has promised a free navigation, reopening of the Strait of Hormuz without any Iranian tolls, and that's in the deal. So here's the president on Iranian nukes, again, from the G7 in France. Take a listen.
The main thing is that Iran will not have a nuclear weapon. They fully agreed to that with strong policing powers, and they won't have a nuclear weapon, which is what it was all about, because they probably would have used it if they had it.
Now, Mr. Trump has also said no money for Iran unless and until they completely change their behavior. And there will be strict performance metrics for all these Trumpian red lines. Again, here's the president earlier today on this point.
Mr. President, does the deal involve any sanctions relief for Iran? When would that go into effect?
No, it doesn't. Well, they have to. It's really a behavioral thing. If they do what they're supposed to do, that starts taking effect.
Now, all the White House people keep talking about verification, verify, verify, verify. And I understand in all these areas, the devil's going to be in the operational details necessary to execute this MOU. All that has to be worked out. We all know Iran has absolutely no credibility on any of these points. That's why I don't think anyone can say the war is yet over. But I will amend Ronald Reagan. We never trust Iran, and that's even more reason why we must verify, verify, and verify. I also recognize that Israel, our great ally and comrade in arms, may still have a lot more work to do to defend its freedom. But let's just step back a moment and recognize that President Trump has crushed Iran militarily through epic fury. Mr. Trump and Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent have crushed Iran financially through economic fury. And special mention to our great U.S. Navy for their steel door blockade on Iranian ports. Now, lots of former presidents have railed against Iran, but no one has remotely done what Mr. Trump has done to curb the gruesome, diabolical evil radical Islamist outlaws that Mr. Trump has done. No one. And that's why I believe people of good faith who want to see freedom truly come to the Middle East should support the Trumpian MOU and help turn that into an actual verifiable agreement. And that's my riff.